Hello teacher, this is my Oracle Academic PowerSQL practice. First is the vocabulary, an exception handlers is the definition, is an exception is of course is the definition, and the first that what happened when Oracle encountered runtime problem while executing PowerSQL block. This is exceptions. So when the error encountered during program execution or discard of the normal operational program, what do you need add of PowerSQL block address of this problem? Для решения этих проблем, when the code doesn't work accepted, PowerSQL throws the exception. When the exception throws, the rest of the execution section of the PowerSQL block is not executed, as the write of code programmers we must anticipate types of errors and kind of while executing that code. They need include exception handlers of their code that resolve these errors, and the sense exception handlers allow the programs protect their code. This is three advantages. First, protect of user from errors, protect the database from errors. The serious errors consume a lot of system resource. The first, the code more readable. Run is this code, and I run this code first, and errors. Точная выработка возвращает количество срок больше запрещенного. This is and what happened on the run block. And this is block fails because there are more than one employee in department 80, and except errors raised. This is my answers, and this is output. And next, B, modify the code, fix of problem, use too many rows, exception handler. I use when exception too many rows handler, and I write run this is code. 1 minute teacher. The output too many rows returned from of query. I fix my problem. I fix this code problem, and write the exception too many rows. Next, run. You modify code. What happens this time? The exception successfully trapped, and that is message too many rows from your query displayed. So, and exercise 5, run the PowerSQL block, which tries insert new of department 50 into the department table. What happened with Y? And I write this is code. That's moment I run. An exception has occurred. What happened? This insert statement failed because of department ID 50 already exists, and this is department ID as a unique column. The rest of executable section was skipped, so the message no department added was not displayed when when others exception handler was executed. Next, exercise 6, create table. First, I create table, and Next question. In the new item, I select this ID, department ID 10, with the name of department ID is working, and I run. This is ID, and the row deleted, and I run Scott. We see this enter following PL/SQL block, which try select and the templates a specific department random times using department IDs 10, 20 and 30. What happened with Y? And I run. This is code. First this is 10. This is out an exception. Wow, has accurate. This is 10. This next 20. What happened? This is an exception has accurate. And 30. Run. An exception has occurred, and I write this is under y side moment teacher. Why this is happening because of the names after put line the select of sex is written or before the exception. Это все из-за того, что оно, если будет внутри нашего exception, оно будет выходить не an exception of accurate, а the select was successful. Next, modify the code 6 and add to the more exception handlers of possible exception individual use not data found and too many rows. Then is times is using 10 and I run. This is code. That moment teacher. This is I run, and the first the more one the row was selected. This exception not too many rows and output not, and next this is 10 and 20 and we see this is more than one row selected and 30. More run selected is not data found and I run 0. No rows, no selected and run. No rows was selected. That next I will finish it. Remember delete of table. I delete drop table. This is temp. this table dropped. Next, list 3 equivalents of typing exception. Always add exception handlers whenever there is a possibility and error occurring. Handle named exception whenever possible. Instead of using others of exception handlers, test your code with a different combination by data to see what the potential errors arise. This next, enter run is PLSQL code when this is code run. An exception has occurred, but this exception occurred. This is 4-digit value is a 999 too large of to be assigned number 2. The block exception has handled an exception successfully and displayed an exception has occurred. Modify block code with the exception handler to run block. Explain to output. Run this is code, and we see this is at that moment teacher. This is output error order. Здесь PLSQL точность числа слишком большая или ошибка числа или значения. And this is arithmetic numeric string conversion calls. This is error report. This is block does not handle of the exception, which therefore propagates back to application express. The application express displayed of the error PLSQL numeric value number prediction large. Next, enter the ground code is explain output. I copy this code and I run my and as an exception has occurred the number 1 2 3 4 y and this is next 7 second this is vocabulary different Oracle servers. This is output pragma exception init tells compiler SQL alarm returns. This is output non-predefined Oracle and what's that mean? Teachers predefined Oracle not predefined Oracle server source is a SQL code. First, what are 3 types exception that can't handle of PLSQL block? Predefined Oracle errors is not predefined Oracle errors. What is the difference? Which of 3 types exception and handlers? First, the predefined Oracle has of assigned name of about 20 of most common errors. We reference that predefined names directly in the exception section of the block. Non-predefined the errors do not have main names, so a name must be defined to the Oracle section and declare section and associated of the Oracle error number. User defines the unknown to Oracle and must be named of declare section, either exploit the executable section and or the named user of exception section. Third, run and enter of block PLSQL block and look at output. Answer the following questions. Okay, and run. This is code task 3. and this is output. Delete Arabin nulle. Выходит у нас. Why? Because region ID does not exist, the predefined exception, and the node that found and the result of path is not trapped within block, and the exception is propagated by the calling exception application express, which displays aura 101476. Modify this code and run code. Now what happens and why? I run this is code and modify this code, and we see this output select return neutral no rows. Now the exception successfully trapped is corresponding exception handles of executed. Select returns rows. Next, modify the unline block. This is a cause of region 929 instance run block, and the task I run this block. 1 minute teacher. I run and that you see this точные выработки возвращает количество строк запрещенного. And this is why. Now the select executed successfully because region exists. Block execution contains, but the next statements attempts to divide 100 by 0 and raises and the unhandable or this is exception. Alright, just modify this block again of handle this exception and there's a run code. Run code. This is my modify code. At moment, teacher. And I use of exception. Not that divide. Next, enter the code and following code. The answers is following question. I run. That moment, teacher. And we see this is output error of неверный cursor. Why? This first fetch fails because of the cursor has not opened. The predefined exception invalid cursor is raised but is not trapped within block. And we see this is fetch because the cursor has not opened. Modify the block and then handle exception with a rerun code. Next, run, and you see this is attempt of output to fetch of an open cursor. Next, modify this code and remember region 1 doesn't exist. What happened? Why? I run modify. This is my code, and you see this region first, name America, the number of regions 01. This is output. The cursor now works fine, so exception continues to the select count. Some student may accept this fail because region edits don't exist. Level 0. Then next, Oracle servers declare this code, and at exception, no data found, too many rows, and dupe file on index. This is exception. I add this is my code. This is output. No rows, no defined. This is like AB. That use of my code, and now test of BA and the CA several language. So next, this is a BA. This output of more than one row was found, and the next CA output is no rows were not found. Were found. Next, now test this is block third times and exist substring all. And I write this is code, and this is my this output. Go to this error. Невозможно выставить 0 в HR language. Why? This select security as exist, but the insert files of without auto. This is exception because language name cannot know. Next, C. This is C, this is D. The D. This language name cannot know, but no. This is null node from allowed exception as a extension exercise and create table error log. I created this error and declare code. This is preschool production successful completed. Next, error log. Let's select of error log from, and that you see this is my when use of when who nature code error and error message. This is error message. Next, first vocabulary. Raise application error. Raise is user defined errors. First, create table. Except, and I use create table. Select from of employees I create this is table. First, the create PostgreSQL block updates salary when employees of that you see this is code, this is output of success code, the 20, 30, 40. 40, this is one, 13, and 20. Modify this code, and code from question 1, handle of condition. So using raise application error, procedures of the use of error number, error, and the test of again using of department ID 40 take off displayed. This is raise application error, that output of that you see is our error 20 whether or not employs that department. This is error code and the raise application error. Next, set is a modify code and the use of raise application error acceptable is using again department 40. Yes, okay, declare. This is output, modify this my code, and the output is the server employees that is department. Next, for be careful, incorrect delete statement. PostgreSQL block is mistake you are under. First enter the run PostgreSQL using explain output. This code I run this code first. This output zero is one employees is employees are deleted. Were deleted. Is output. Modify. This is the code including two user defined. Then select of the below this rows deleted D. Declare. Do not use erase application error. Modified block. I1 exception. This department has not employees that you see, and you not use erase exception application error. Next, modify your block use of erase application error and the executive section using arrow uses number errors as a second first. I run this is code that you see. So one first department has not employees. Why this is my second? As you see, this is error codes. Next, that's south. This is output is code. So output errors, raise application errors, and the department has not employed. Next, this is for this propagation where variable visibility exception scope. Run this code. This is my run code. The counter ID 5 and the output the counter does not exist. The second is 2. I run. That you see this counter exists but has accuracy. Next, explain code, save your code and modify this code to explain counters and no accuracy inner block and no accuracy. The exception is run. That you see the counter has not agree. And I write 5